Hi folks, Rosemary here with Travel with Ro. Today we're going to talk about door magnets for your cruise. What are they? Where can you buy them? How do you make them yourself? We're going to go over all of that. Okay, so door magnets. Now, these are essentially magnets that go on your door on a cruise. Why? Well, because they're metal. The cruise ships are mostly made of metal, and so you can stick magnets on your door. This is me, Ro. And I'm going to be focusing on Disney today, of course. Hello, gotta rep, Mickey, my guy. And and Captain Minnie. I am so excited about her. But anyway, so we're gonna go over what they are, how to make them too. I'm gonna show you how I made my own. But why would you put magnets on your door? Let's start there. So there are a few reasons. Now, one is that these cruise ships, the hallways are long hallways with lots of doors, and they all look exactly the same for the most part. So it makes it a lot easier for you to find your own door. That's a big part of it, is just, hey, this one is my door. So that recognition can be helpful, especially at the end of a long day and you're like, wait, was it this number or that? It just helps. Because the hallways are just long and all the identical doors. Also, kids love it. It's just fun. And not just for kids, it's for all ages. I mean, who are we kidding? I think it's great too. But it also gives them an activity to get involved in before the cruise, something to help them get excited. You can have them help make them or help pick them out. Because I'm a big fan of surprising kids for Disney vacations, but I don't surprise them like the day of. I surprise them, a few weeks ahead of time so that they have time to build up the anticipation and to help me plan. So this is one of the things that kids can help with. And also great for special occasions. So if you've got a birthday, an anniversary, a honeymoon, a wedding, it's your first cruise, anything that you want to celebrate, you can get a special magnet just for that. Or if you just like commemorating each one, like for example, I have one here that is in the shape of a cruise ship. I'll get into where I got the design from in a little bit, but it's the shape of a cruise ship. It has the name of the ship we'll be on, which is the Disney Wish. It has the year that we're going. And then up here underneath Mickey, it's got the first names of everyone in our family. So me, my husband, and the two kids. So this is something that we could, that feels nice. I sit here and fan myself. This is something that we can put on the fridge later or something like that as sort of a souvenir. So that's a good reason too, but also like main reason is just, it's fun. It's a good project. It's fun. You can be creative, especially if you're crafty, like me. I love doing things. Like I might not be Martha Stewart, but I love making things. Now you can find door magnets in a lot of places on cruises. I'm not talking about buying yet, but on cruises itself, it's done a lot on Disney and Carnival. Those seem to be the biggest. You'll see it on other cruises, Royal Caribbean, Princess, stuff like that. For sure, you'll see some, but I think Disney and Carnival seem to be the biggest, and especially Disney. There's just, you see so much, so many people posting pictures. I will find a few pictures, examples, and post them on my blog. So make sure you go to my travelwithrovacations.com website. On my travel blog there, I'll link to it in this video description on YouTube so that you can find it. And I'll put some examples of different ways people decorate doors. And one of the things you have to be careful about though is you pretty much want to use magnets. I'll show you specifically what kind I use and how I put this together, but essentially a few years ago in 2019, Norwegian actually banned door decorations of any kind. And I don't know if that's been lifted yet. I'll link below to a forum where somebody posted a picture, you know, of the actual paper where it shows the restriction of no more door decorations because people were going overboard and it was dangerous. You have to make sure that whatever you're putting on your door is, you know, fire retardant material, not flammable. It's not going to get in the way of anything. But that's a big one. But also you want to be careful about damaging the cruise lines. I found a thing on the Carnival website where they actually, because it's so popular, they have a little regulation rule about it where you know, it tells you the decorations, they can only be on the door itself, not the sides, things like that. And, you know, the fire retardant material, and use magnets or command strips, but not tape or glue. Definitely don't use tape or glue, but I also gotta say, I don't recommend command strips. I use those things, the 3M strips, all the time in my house. I do. I've had a lot of success with those. But I have also accidentally, not paying enough attention, yanked the paint off of my walls with those as well. So I don't recommend it because if you damage the doors, they will charge you. I've seen people charged for door damage, especially a lot of people like to suggest like over door hangers for organizational stuff or even for decorations, but those can damage doors and people have gotten charged for damaging doors due to the over the door hangers, you know, like you have a wreath hanger on your front door, sort of like that, or like a shoe rack to put your toothpaste in and stuff. So I don't suggest over the door hangers either. You know, my biggest suggestion is magnets. And so I would just keep that in mind. If you do it all ahead of time, you just shove this in the backpack and it's a suitcase and it's ready to go. So, where do you find the magnets? Where can you buy them? Where can you download them? So you can buy pre-made personalized magnets from Etsy, of course. That's my go-to for a lot of this type of stuff. And people will make magnets for you and you can just buy them and get them sent to you and then they just go right on your door. And you don't have to do anything. If you want to do them yourself, one thing is I have put my things to the side. Hang on, let me go look for them. And we're back. Sorry, I moved all my stuff. Disney itself has shared some graphics, and I will put a link to that PDF on my blog so that you guys can download them yourselves. This is an example. Now, when Disney shared these, some of these were quite bigger, and I went and I edited them so that like these two Mickey graphics were on one page. So I sort of copied them, shrunk them down, and put them on a single page. The same with this. Pluto was huge and the anchor was huge, so I shrunk them down. And there's a bunch of others in the packet as well. So again, I'll link to these so that you can download them yourself. You can just print them, or you can mess around with it if you want. You know, I have Photoshop. I go in there and I do stuff like that myself. But essentially, there's pre-made magnets from Disney itself that you can just download, which is really cool. I went on Etsy and downloaded a couple of downloadable patterns. These are actually for like a Cricut or Silhouette, you know, one of those cutters, so that you can make your own t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like that with the vinyl things. But I just used the graphics because it was a couple of bucks and I was able to get myself these little Mickey heads with the captain hat. And I just thought these were the cutest things I had ever seen. So, you know, that's also where I got the ship and a few other things. But so essentially what I did is I used this, and it's hard to tell on there because that's only 2 letters, but I downloaded the font for Walt's handwriting. And I'll put the link for that as well. That's free. I'll put that in the description for you. And where you can find all this stuff. But I did one of these for each of us. So me, my husband, and my kids, we each have our own with Walt's handwriting right there and our names. And I mean, how great is this? Again, it can live on your fridge until the next time you go on a Disney cruise. But I am going to show you how to put some together. And now I like to print this on cardstock. You can print it on paper, but then they're a little extra flimsy, although I got this peel and stick self-laminating sheets that, again, I'll link to these too. They're very similar to what I used to use when I was working in the library, and I would laminate things because, you know, maybe I'm going to do a story time and cut out like 30 little penguins because it's a winter story time and I want to pass them out to the kids so that they can put them on the board or do an activity of some sort. But you know, toddlers have sticky hands and it just, you know, so it's a thing. So I would laminate all these crafts that I would do. So I have used the self-laminating paper for a lot of things. And I found that, especially the one I got, which is a bit thick, which I like actually, it makes this just super sturdy. It's gonna last a while. I also made a couple of quotes, of course. So I'll link to these, or I'll upload it to my blog as well so that you guys can have these. It's just 2 quotes, one from Moana, of course, because you know, cruise, see the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me. And I won't sing this one, I promise, but I did a Into the Unknown quote. Because even though I know exactly where we're going on the cruise, well, you know, knock on wood, there's no emergencies. As long as we don't reroute, I know where we're going, but still, Into the Unknown, it just feels adventurous, you know, and that's what this is. It's an adventure. So what I was saying though is the cardstock and the lamination makes it a bit, you know, nice and thick and sturdy. You want to use strong magnets. My magnets, and again, I'll link to these so you can see exactly what I'm using. They're heavy duty magnets. They come in this little case and they're kind of like, they're almost like my kids' toys that, you know, those little circle magnets that just, you can sculpt and do all kinds of stuff. But anyway, so these magnets here are strong magnets, kind of tiny. I don't know if I can get this to focus. They're so small. And it's focused on me. Can you focus on the magnets? Oh, there we go. So, again, these little magnets, they're not very big, but they are super strong. So they're all you need. And as you can see, I used a couple. Well, this one's big, so I used 4, but normally I would only use 2 or 3. Like this one, I'll use 2 for this. But you want to make sure you use strong magnets or what are heavy duty, because your door is going to be opening and closing a lot. You guys are going to be coming and going, and the room steward's going to be coming and going, and so you want to make sure that you use something heavy. And speaking of heavy, you want to use craft glue. That is my suggestion. Anyway, I guess you could use super glue. I am personally incapable of using super glue without gluing my fingers together every single time. You would think somewhere in the past 40 years I would have learned how to do this successfully. Every time I glue my fingers together. And I use hot glue for so many projects all over the place. But for this, it's just hot glue can come off of plasticky stuff very easy. So I suggest the craft glue. Just make sure that you use it in a ventilated area and, you know, let it sit for 72 hours to fully dry before you try to stick it in a suitcase. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move my camera angle so that you can actually see me make a magnet here. All right, so I've got a couple of designs here. The cruise logo, and then my other Frozen quote. So here are my laminating sheets. They have, whoops, just one. You need 2, essentially, unless you're gonna cut them in half. But there is It's hard to see. There's a little piece to peel off here, and one side is very, very sticky. So essentially, you put it down flat. Be careful not to touch it too much so you get a bunch of fingerprints, and just peel off this coating. And throw that out. You're gonna take your pieces and lay them down. Just sort of stick them down there. Actually, you can put them either way. I don't have to put it upside down. So, you know, put that one that way so you can see it. And then what you're gonna do is once you got these on here, you can see them all there, you're gonna take a second piece of laminated paper, peel, I've got two, wow, okay. You peel off the sticky part. Now, turn the sticky side down. It's very sticky, so be careful. The hard part is lining it up, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure that all of your pieces are covered, because that's what I actually did the first time when I made my Mickey head. The Mickey head was sticking out. I didn't overlap it enough, so I had to add a second piece to it to sort of cover that up. And you just smooth it a bit around. And now I should mention that I cut my designs out first because I like the way that looks. You can technically just take the actual full page, like this full page, and just laminate it like this and then cut it out. But then you won't have a little bit of extra around the edges, and that kind of bothers me. So now you want to go through and cut them out individually. I'm going to do one for you guys to see. And I cut it around the edge, and it's got a little bit of the lamination paper surrounding, or the laminating sheet surrounding the paper itself, because the paper itself, I don't want it to get moisture, wet, or anything like that. Another thing that's really important though is to round all of your corners, because these are actually, they can be quite sharp. If you have a corner like this, it's just unpleasantly sharp. And again, this does not have to be perfect. I just almost cut my flag right there. You're just making something that looks cute. And I'm gonna round this corner too. My hands are a bit shaky today. So now this is essentially our magnet. And like I said, for this one, I'm just gonna use two of these little guys. My super strong magnets. And just to tap a little bit of glue, I'm gonna do 2 dots. And like I said, be careful you don't breathe too much of this in. And then we just put our little magnet on the glue and get that down. Flatten that. And we let it sit. But that's essentially it. Now, if you were going to do something fancy, like add fairy lights that have a little battery, a lot of times the battery packs are about this size actually, you would put some sort of block here, like maybe a little piece of wood or foam, and glue that down so that it's separate from the door. And then you would glue down your battery pack for the fairy lights and sort of wrap them around and add some glue. I'm not doing anything fancy like that, but that's essentially how you would do it. All right, and there we go. Okay, so now that you've got your magnet here, do the same with your other ones. I always try to put a few on a sheet, but essentially you can see it doesn't take that long to do. It is kind of fun. And again, kids can help with this. You know, part of the prep of preparing for a cruise, getting excited. Art projects are always a fun way for me to do that. I also like to make, you know, Disney themed food, that sort of thing. You know, we'll be having some Mickey pancakes. But anyway, so you've got all these ideas now. And again, there'll be some links to some of these different products and stuff, and where to find some of the designs and the Disney PDFs. of all of this, and I'm moving this around a little bit too much before the glue dried. I'm gonna put that back down. Okay, so anyway, share with me if you make your own cool little Mickey magnets. I wanna see. I love getting involved, seeing what people are doing. Comment here on YouTube, share stuff with me on my Facebook page, things like that. I would love to hear from you. So again, find my resources on the travelwithrowvacations.com website. That's where I have my blog. And, make sure to subscribe and follow me here for more fun projects, as well as just travel tips, vacation fun, stuff like that. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.